Come on in, pull up a chair and take a load off. I am going to be taking a first look and paging through the Bestiary number 2 for 2nd edition Pathfinder from Paizo Inc. So if you're curious as to what new creatures and monsters are contained in this tome, stay tuned. We'll be diving in right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me. As I mentioned in the open, I'm going to be taking a look at Bestiary 2 for Pathfinder 2nd edition. Do want to mention, I tried to share the first look on the Daily Dope last night, my live stream, and boy, I just had one disastrous time. We normally do not have any technical difficulties, but I was trying out a brand new overhead camera and it was passing all the tests, but when the stream went live, so I'll make it up to you with the standalone video. But before I jump in, do want to mention, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you do. Don't forget, ring that little notification bell because it will not only let you know when I upload new videos such as this, it'll also tell you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. All right, so let's start looking at the old book, right? So as I mentioned, this is the Bestiary number 2 for Pathfinder 2nd edition from our friends over at Paizo Inc. They were kind enough to send an advanced copy to me. Much appreciated. This hardcover clocks in at 320 pages. It is going to be available on May 27th, carrying an MSRP of $49.99. It should be available in PDF on the same day for $14.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera because I love me some bestiaries. I am a huge fan of monster manuals and bestiaries and so on and so forth. So I'm pretty pumped to take a peek at this. There are over 300 creatures in here as far as I understand. In fact, it says right there on the back of the book. More monsters, more mayhem. More than 300 menacing monsters and fearsome foes await within this compendium of creatures from the world of Pathfinder. From classic adversaries like giants, dragons, and the Jabberwock, to potential allies and servants suitable for summoners of every alignment, this must-have expansion to the Pathfinder Bestiary seethes with enemies to challenge characters of any level. Nice. Let's flip this on over and let's jump right on inside. So one of the first things I am going to point out, and I will kind of touch up on the focus just a hair. See if we can, there we go. So I do have this set so it's pretty clear, but it's not going to be super crystal clear. And the reason why is I don't want anyone kind of commenting, oh man, you're letting the pirates get their hands on this book. Because in the past, when I've done page throughs of various different game books for various different role-playing games, I have had folks comment, oh man, now the pirates are going to get all this. And I gotta be honest, that is not how piracy operates in role-playing games. But what I will be doing, I will be kind of flipping through this rather quickly and commenting about what we're seeing. And then I'll kind of have my like hands on it, you know, sort of like that. So it's not so easy. If there is somebody out there who wants to every, I don't know, 200ths of a second, since there wants to stop the video and take a screenshot, well, okay, I guess. Anyway, let's jump on in and start taking a peek through. One thing I do want to point out, in my opinion, once again, it's just my opinion, I really do like the 2nd edition artwork style for Pathfinder. And I know there are a lot of people who completely dig first edition artwork, and I get that. I just appreciate their direction of going more towards a traditional high fantasy art style as opposed to kind of anime manga inspired, or manga as some people like to pronounce it, inspired artwork. But geez, Attic Whisperer, that's pretty wild. It's got its little stuffed bunny. So as you can see, each of these new creatures, monsters, what have you, are going to have their stat block. It's going to talk about their different abilities. It's going to give us some background about them. And one thing that I think is pretty cool that I did notice as I started to flip through this last night was that it appears that we have this like kind of sidebar, which gives us a bit about the creature, but it's not necessarily specifically just about the creature. It might have something to do with people worshiping that creature, or how people use things that they find from it. Like adaptive, we're talking about here, we've got this almost spider-like creature. Talking about adaptive hunters, vengeful beasts for the bear. So it says polar bears have been known to take special interest in those who have vexed or wounded them, sometimes following individual hunters back to their villages and stalking them exclusively for several days. So that's kind of cool. I like how we get these kind of little extra blurbs about each of the creatures. Now, as I started to look through this last night and the stream kind of went down the drain, I did get to, I think, just starting into E. So I have seen some of this. What I love to do when I do an unboxing or I do a first look and page through is I come to it pretty cold. I might have some sell sheet information from the company, but like for an example, this book, I did not crack this book open until the camera started rolling last night. Carbuncle. I thought carbuncles are like boils. I guess not. Boy, this artwork really does pop. I love this artwork. And one of the reasons why I really dig bestiaries, monster manuals, what have you, that's cool. A Titan centipede, it's gargantuan. I dig the fact that I can read about these different monsters and that even if I weren't going to be using them in my own adventures, it gets those creative juices going, especially for a game master. The Chupacabra. That's pretty wild. Be careful. Don't let the Chupacabra come and bleed all your farm animals. So we got a giant crab. The crawling hand. Like that 50s movie. That old 50s science fiction movie. And I think, you know what? I think the name of that was The Crawling Hand. I'm almost positive. I haven't seen that in forever. I used to see it all the time on Saturday mornings when I was growing up as like, you know, the horror movie. But I haven't seen that in 30, maybe 35, 40 years. That's pretty wild. So we have some different demons. Oh, that's pretty wild. I like that artwork. Like I said, the artwork in this book, in fact, throughout the second edition, really has some pop to it. Really like it. Really dig it a lot. So now we have some demons. Taking a look at these. A boar demon. Okay. Denizen of Lang. So this is Lovecraftian right there. So I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I'm 90% sure that that's H.P. Lovecraft and not Clark Ashton Smith. In fact, I want to say I'm about 99% positive. Oh, okay. Queens of the Nights. Oh, that's cool. Dig Widget. It's kind of it's like a robotic, almost steampunkish sort of mechanical creature. Oh, we have more dinosaurs. So we had some dinosaurs in the first bestiary. So now we've got some more dinosaurs. That's sweet. The dolphin, yay! So we've got bottlenose dolphin, and then we have orcas, which are actually killer whales. Well, they have more actually in common with dolphins than they do whales, but they're still known as, most people would call them killer whales. We get some new dragons. Nice. We got a cloud dragon. We got brine dragons. Crystal dragon. Another thing that's really nice about this bestiary is that we have images pretty much for every entry. Now, there are multiple creatures in some of these entries. So, for an example, we had quite a few different dragons here. But we didn't necessarily have an image for each and every one, which is okay. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. What kind of drives me nuts sometimes is when we see a monster book where there's all these cool entries for all these different creatures that you're like, wow, yeah, man, I really want to use those in my game. And then there's no images of them and very little detail about what they actually look like. Kind of a bummer. Well, at least with this, we are not running across that at all. So we get some new elementals. A magma scorpion. All right. Some mephits, water elementals. Oh, a mastodon. I know there were folks out there who were curious about what was pretty much going to be included in this book, what monsters are in this book. And right now, you're finding out. That's kind of a gross looking fly. So we have giant maggots, giant fly, and we have a giant frog that can eat that giant fly. A frost worm. Nice. So we have some new giants. So we've got a wood giant, marsh giant. That looks very Lovecraftian. Very Cthulhu mythos-ish. Shadow giant. Got some new golems as well. Glass golem. Sweet. The Gorgon. Gremlin. So we've got different gremlins there. Grendel. All right. So getting a little inspiration from Beowulf for Grendel there. Okay. And then Grendel's mother. The Gripply. I would take a guess. That does not look like an evil creature. Let's see what we've got. Neutral. There you go. I was going to say, that looks like that could be friendly. Of course, right there, I'm pretty sure that's going to be chaotic evil. The Hippogriff. The Hippocampus. The hippopotamus. Holy cow. Behemoth hippopotamus with blood all over the place. Which I guess, with as many people who actually do get killed by hippos, I could see that. The Hound of Tindalos. This is another Lovecraftian creature there. Ah, the Jabberwock. Yes. Oh, good amount of detail. Good amount of information there for the Jabberwock. So for the most part, we're seeing quite a few of the monsters and creatures are getting a page, full page write-up. But keep in mind that, you know, your stat block is really just this. And then, of course, we've got all the different abilities in that. A Leng spider from the plateaus of Leng. A leprechaun. The Leshy. That's pretty wild. Oh, that looks cool. Flytrap Leshy. There's some really creative creatures in here, I have to say. Of course, this is not a review, obviously enough. We're just paging on through. We're just taking a look to see what we've got here. I will do my best to have a review out for the Bestiary 2 before it goes on sale on May 27th. So that gives me some time. Usually, I like to take about a week and a half to kind of dive in and really go through the substantive role-playing game books that I receive. That's very cool. I am definitely digging this a lot. So as we're paging through, I do want to mention, I have folks ask me, folks who want to get into, actually, an Oni. Aren't Oni, they Japanese giants? Or maybe they're, no, I think they're Japanese. I don't think they're Chinese. I know they're Asian. Anyway, I have people ask me quite often, hey, Jeff, I want to get into, fantasy role playing with, my friends or my family or my children. And they always ask, so which should I get? Should I get Dungeons and Dragons? Should I get Pathfinder? I mean, there are tons of systems out there. So it's not only D&D and Pathfinder, it's just a vast majority of people who play fantasy role-playing games play D&D or Pathfinder or both. And what I like to tell people is that Pathfinder does have, well, what we like to term as crunchy. So it's a little more rules heavy. There are more mechanics involved in the game than in 5th edition. Psychopomps, those are cool. Psychopomps normally worship death. But they're not like bringing on death. They're not necessarily evil. But anyway, I tell people all the time that if you're looking for a game that, number one, allows the players to really customize their characters, so their characters are very, very unique, then Pathfinder is certainly the one to choose. Something else I always point out is I love how Paizo releases new adventure path chapters each and every month for both Pathfinder and Starfinder. And you have loads and loads of content available to you. And I think that's fantastic, because especially if you are running a group or part of a group that gets together, say, every week, every 2 weeks, maybe you game for 4 to 6 hours, something like that, then you can pretty much be guaranteed that you can follow along with the campaign as it progresses. So I definitely do like the fact that there's always content out for Pathfinder and for Starfinder as well. Now, some folks will say, well, they release too much stuff, and I can understand that. But one thing you always got to keep in mind, when it comes to role-playing games, you're never under any sort of pressure that you've got to get everything that comes out for it. I know, and a lot of people out there are completists. I get that. I'm sort of the same way. But as creators have told me, role-playing game creators, in fact, Kenneth Haidt, who, if you're familiar with a lot of Lovecraftian or Cthulhu mythos role-playing games, then you know who Ken Haidt is. He told me before that basically you're not going to get rich creating role-playing games, because effectively you can create a core book, and that's all anybody ever needs, right? You give them the skeleton of the game, and very creative people are going to just run with it. So never feel that you're under like any obligation that you have to purchase everything that comes out from a role-playing game manufacturer or in a role-playing game line. But that said, this is one sweet book. So pretty cool. I mean, we have been paging through this for a while now, and we're just coming close to the end. So I think we've got maybe about 40, 50 pages to go. So we've got some different trolls. A two-headed troll. Oh, there we go. And a Jotund troll. Is that sort of some from Viking legend or something like that? So we've got turtle, a twigjack. Maladjusted forest denizens, twigjacks form from the cruel and prankish combination of fae and the very woods in which they reside. Huh. Okay. Oh, we get a different kind of vampire, a new kind of vampire. Vircolocus, vampiric mist. Yeah, I know some of these, it's like, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Well, that's pretty wild. For some reason, that just kind of reminds me a little bit of Carnage, the Marvel Comics character. A Viper Vine, a Void Zombie. Oh, we get some new were creatures. So we got were boar, were tiger, Cairn White. I don't know. That doesn't look like Hugh Jackman to me. Worm that walks. Oh wow. Now this must be a pretty major bad guy, or baddie, I should say, because it's got 2 pages devoted to it. That is pretty creepy looking. Dread Wraith. Yellow Musk Creeper. And is this the last one? Yep. Our last entry is a Zomok. Mighty plant dragons. Zomoks prowl the woodlands, defending their homes from destructive forces, while healing and restoring the woods following natural disasters and ravaging intruders. It is a neutral creature. All right, we get into a glossary that's sharing each of the abilities. So it gives you a breakdown of what these abilities do. If you notice, we do have the little sidebar here. So if you just open up to a page, it's going to tell you what letter you're on. Boom, L to N. Kind of gives you the range there. So we have creature traits. Yeah, it's Flipper. Got all the different traits there. We have some rituals. So it says some creatures from the outer planes can use special rituals to call their kin or transport themselves to another plane. Then we have creatures by type. We have creatures by level, which something like this is usually very helpful for game masters when they're trying to come up with encounters, or if they're doing a dungeon crawl, if they're trying to do some random encounters or kind of populate their dungeon crawl. So who comes out on top? The Jabberwock and the Solar Angel. Yikes, 23s. Those are and they are rare, certainly rare. And then we got our open game license and an ad for the Game Mastery Guide, which had recently come out. I think that, if I remember correctly, I think that came out in February, something like that. So there we have the Pathfinder Bestiary number 2. As I mentioned, this is going to arrive in stores and your friendly local game stores, online retailers, and of course, Paizo Inc. themselves. It will be available on May 27th. You can place pre-orders right now at Paizo.com, and it will carry an MSRP of $49.99, and the PDF will carry an MSRP of $14.99. So that's pretty nice. That's pretty sweet. I do notice that Paizo tends to take their core books, and in PDF, they tend to be very friendly price-wise compared to how PDF pricing usually works for most books. Usually the PDF is about half the price of the physical book, but $14.99 $49.99. That's a substantial discount. But then again, you're not getting this sweet hardcover though. As I mentioned, I will have a review of Bestiary 2 for 2nd edition Pathfinder in the very near future. About a week and a half is what I would give it. So by all means, keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay, that's it for this time out. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you do, ring that notification bell because it will not only notify you when I upload standalone videos such as this one, it'll also tell you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights. Pretty sweet, pretty cool. All right, and of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news and reviews and a whole lot more. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I really appreciate you taking time to watch this video today. And of course, in this time of pandemic, till I see you next, be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.